No, that's awesome. I love that you and I have done so many videos here and there for the last few years, and I really love what we put together last year when the whole mental health, it was actually right before COVID when we were getting ready for the Mental Health Matters seminar last year, and it was shut down due to COVID and restrictions when it first was starting. And we all knew that mental health was a major issue at that time, and things are kind of skyrocketing with exactly what you're saying. Loneliness, isolation, anxiety, depression, things are rising faster and faster, PTSD. And it's not funny, but I was doing some research in the last couple of weeks, and we talked about this with the psychologists and whatnot, that when there's like an emotional like trauma that happens in our world, whether it's like different what's the word I'm looking for, war, pandemics, like the emotional shock after that in every one of them was up to 6 to 7 years, right? Like it's not something that it happens and then it goes away. Like we're going through this traumatic experience, but it's the longevity, like what happens after, right? So we have years to come after that. So I'm glad that you have come on board again tonight to talk to us about mindful practices to help and cope with anxiety, depression, and things that we could do at home, right? So Sanji, talk to me. What are ways that we could work with anxiety and depression at home, right? Through my
yeah, since this is a COVID time, we cannot go out, so we confine ourselves at the home, where we could do some mindfulness practice, which is very important, especially, we have to have a slow and deep breathing exercise, while breathing, while breathe out, so that is very important factor, because breath is a life force energy. So as soon as we connect with the breath, what will happen? We can move inside. So the more we confine ourselves into the house, what is happening? We are not recharging ourselves into the nature while going outside. So lots of useless and unwanted thought come into our mind, and that will cause the thought of anxiety, the thought of depression, the thought of isolation, that is a very important practice. The another practice sometimes we can do, we can open the patio, and we can take the fresh oxygenated air, from the window, Why? Because the more we take the oxygenated air, the more it will heal and help our brain cells, and especially when we can go for deep and slow breathing exercise, So the more we go for the deep breathing exercise inside our house, the more we consume the oxygenated air, and the oxygenated air is full of powerful energy. So it will try to declutter, dissolve all kinds of the useless and unwanted thoughts. Another practice we can do, we have to engage ourselves, occupied ourselves with whatsoever activity we are doing. Just for example, if I'm liking to go for painting, my hobby, if it is my hobby is cooking or dishwashing, whatsoever hobby I have, I can try to engage and occupied with such kind of the beautiful thoughts, even we can read the beautiful books, we can listen to the good talks, Why? Because it will recharge ourselves, however we are not going outside. And the more we become happy, the more we connect with the oxytocin, it is a positive feel good hormone, So the more we connect with the feel good hormone, what will happen? It will improve our immunity level, and it will engage and occupied with our brain cells in the beautiful things. At the same times, if we are inside the house, and if we are connecting with lots of the negative thought in energy emotion like hate, anxiety, and therefore the depression happens. So we need to reprogram, our subconscious mind. As we know, depression is a collection of negative thought, energy, emotion like anger, fear, hate, jealousy, whatsoever. So we have to reprogram, rewire our brain cells. How? As I said, the more we connect with the positive thought, emotion, energy, the more we connect with the love, compassion, gratitude, fulfillment, happiness, joy, with whatsoever resources are available at the house, what will happen? The more we release oxytocin hormone, and our immunity will be much more, powerful, and we can develop creative, powerful, wonderful, awesome thoughts. So these are the important mindfulness practice which we can do, and we have to witness it, whatsoever things are activity we are doing at our house. So we are an observer, we are a watcher, we are a witnesser. So we don't have to react, we don't have to reply with our any kind of the thought, emotion, energy. Just for example, if I am living in my house and if there is some kind of negative thought energy is coming into my or subconscious mind, we don't have to react with them. Rather, we have to accept it as it is, without any judgment, without any labeling. So what will happen then? Those kind of the negative thought, emotion, energy can disappear, and we can live into the present moment awareness. So that's what I noticed. These are the important practice.
Well, it's good. You're getting all intense. I like it. Okay, so like we talked a lot. Like there was so much that you just said there. I like when you were talking about connecting with the breath. Like, do you have like any videos or whatnot that we could like share in the comments for people to practice at home? Like how to breathe? Like I know for myself, like I didn't know that I wasn't breathing properly, right? Like there's like slow, deep, like you hold it in for 5 seconds, hold it till you're passed out. Like what's the method there? Like how do you actually breathe?
Yeah. So basically, in order to go for the right breathing, first of all, we should know breath is a life force energy, right? And as soon as we close our eyes, what what happens? The outside distraction is no more. So take the deep breath, take the deep breath inside and hold it for a few seconds. As you said, the more we hold it for a few seconds, the more oxygenated air we take inside, and our brain cells will be recharged, it will be relaxed, and our whole body will be relaxed, and we take maximum amount of the oxygen. So we can hold it for a few seconds and then we have to release it. So this is the one way. And the second thing, we have to aware of the sensation of the breath. That is very important, right? Why? Because the lots of people are living with the mind, and mind is full of distraction, deviation, right? So as soon as we go for the deep breathing exercise, what will happen? We are getting disconnected from the useless and unwanted thought created by the mind. So another important practice for the deep breathing exercise, we have to be aware. That is very important. We have to be aware the sensation of the breath, because as soon as we aware of the sensation of the breath, what will happen? We are disconnecting from useless thought. Just for example, if there is a thought of anxiety, thought of depression, thought of loneliness, thought of isolations are coming at this moment, what we have to do? We have to focus on the awareness of the breath, and it should be slow and the deep breath. That is a very important thing.
No, for sure. I just want to say to everybody that's tuning in tonight to this live broadcast, if you could comment in the comments like where you're coming in from, or if you're watching this on the live or the replay. And I'm also kind of curious for those that are watching, please, I really want to read the comments. If you guys know about the breathing, like I honestly didn't know about how to breathe properly till the last couple of years ago, and I found it was a huge shift in my anxiety because you can't be angry or struggling with your anxiety and breathing right at the same time. When I find myself like at a high stress or high pressure level, if I come back to my breathing and focus on that, I'm able to bring myself back to a calmer place, right? So I think that's a powerful tool that people can be using at home. Is something free, it doesn't cost anything, and is something extremely effective. What are some other tips?